Well, now then, welcome to Jamie TV. Let's go to this view here. Welcome to Jamie TV. Thank you very much for joining me. If you are watching live, then please throw something in the chat so I know you're there so I can say hello. If you are watching from the future, then greetings from the past. It's nice to know that we have a future. We are gathered here today to talk about this little thing. Let's just have a look who is already here. I'm seeing some names pop up. DJ, thanks for joining us again, man. Thanks for being here. My friend from Sheffield. Grant's here. Hi, Grant. Hope you're feeling a bit better, dude. Matthias is here. And I think that's it for now. Okay. Matthias says, I want this iRig thing if it makes you play like that. Well, I was just having a bit of a mess about because I just sort of suddenly realised as I was about to start the stream that normally I have some music like as an introduction. Usually if I'm demonstrating some software, then I've made something then I've already made a bit of music with that software, and I'll use that as a introduction to the stream, nice and professional. But because we're talking about this thing today, it's a bit different, slightly different kind of a stream, which I hope is going to go okay. So what was I going to say? Grant says, I've never worked out the tapping thing. Well, the tapping thing actually is I think it's the easiest of the techniques that I use on bass, but that's probably because I'm 51, right? So when I was a teenager and I got suddenly mental about music, it was the 80s big hair. They call it hair metal now. That's what I was really into, and everyone was tapping. I'm a really big fan of Billy Sheehan. I loved him with Dave Lee Roth and Mr. Big, and more recently the Winery Dogs. So I kind of picked up a lot of that stuff from Billy. And if you wanted to know about tapping, you know what I could do, because Grant, you're on my Patreon. I could do a little thing on Patreon about how it's done. It's basically the best advice I can give if you want to tap is just put your thumb on the side of the fretboard so you've got an anchor position with your right hand, because if you're coming at it without any kind of anchor whatsoever, then it's kind of there's nothing supporting you to drive that finger with. Drive the fingertip into the string, have a note ready with your left hand, or if you're a lefty, with your fretting hand, right? Drive that fingertip in and release. And it's all about putting a little bit of tension on the string as you let go. If you just move it to the side just a little, just to add that extra tiny bit of tension. And then you hammer with your left. But preferably onto a note that's in key though. I'm looking at myself in the stream rather than looking at what I'm doing, right? So It's all just once you've got the tapping thing down with the right hand, then it's all really just about hammers and pull-offs. All right, so anyway, we're not here to talk about that. I'll do a thing about that on Patreon if you would like me to, Grant. Anyway, right, so we are gathered here today to talk about this little thing. Let me just put this bass down a moment. I don't need that for a little while. Okay, you sit over there and be good. Now, the iRig HDX. This thing has really impressed me. Now, it's typical as a YouTuber to kind of start a video by kind of going, oh, I've got this thing. Let's check it out and find out if it's any good. But this thing is that good that I think it would be disrespectful to IK Multimedia to pretend like, we're going to have a pissy pants around with it and see what the outcome is. I'm telling you right up front, this thing is great. Now, I don't know what it costs in other countries. In the UK, the full retail price is £129.99. For such a tiny thing, maybe that sounds like a lot of money, but it does a lot, and it does it brilliantly, and it's well worth that kind of money. It's not necessarily for you, but it's definitely worth the asking price. So I'm going to tell you all about it today so that you can decide whether whether it might be for you. So the thing that you have to bear in mind here is I have got incredibly small hands. When I first decided I was going to be a bass player, people laughed. All my mates in the band, because I wasn't the bass player, we had a bass player. I was singing, I was playing guitar, and the bass player was missing, and I decided I was going to be the bass player, and yeah, they all laughed. They were like, "No way." There's just no way your hands are going to be able to cope with the bass. Plus, you're like the smallest person we know, and the bass is like the biggest instrument. So yes. Anyway, all of that just to reaffirm the fact that I have incredibly small hands. So this is my very small left hand, right? And this is the iRig HDX, right? That's how tiny it is. Let's see if I can just give you some perspective by just kind of putting something next to it. Let's see now. All right, now you know the small mini guitar pedals. I have one here that Donna sent to me. That's Donna the company, not Donna my other half. Right, so here is a mini guitar pedal, and this is the HDX. That's how big it is. It's also not even half as put it that way around, stupid hippie. It's not even half as deep, and it is way, way lighter than one of these. It virtually weighs nothing. So in terms of portability, in terms of, just like carrying around a sort of a fly rig, a backup rig maybe, or something to rehearse with. In fact, something for all purposes, really. From now on, I won't go anywhere without this because, when I'm doing a gig, because although I love technology, when I'm playing with the band, I am kind of old school. I like to have an amp and some big speakers and, old school pedals to stamp on. I like that stuff still. But I am fascinated by the technology that's available to do it without, and I do some gigs like that. And for me, from now on, I will take this everywhere because should my stuff not work on a gig, I could set this up with my iPhone or my iPad and get a great sound and put it through the PA and do the gig. So for that alone as a backup, it's worth it. But it does a whole lot more than that. So, other things I should tell you about the design and the construction of it before we get into plugging it in. First of all, it's made of that kind of plastic that's got a kind of a rubbery sort of a coating. And Alas doesn't like the feel of it. Not that it's got anything to do with her. But which is perfect because when you put it on a desk, we need a different view. They'll give me an excuse to use this camera, right? So when you put it on a desk, it doesn't just slide around the place. It doesn't have feet. It doesn't have anything to secure it down. But one of my concerns was with it being so light, I thought when we put some proper heavy-duty guitar leads in this, it's just going to slide all over the place. Well, there is an element of that. There's bound to be with something so small and light. But it's not as bad as you might think because of this kind of material it's made out of. It does kind of like to stay in position, as it were. Right? Back to me. Okay. What else should I tell you about it? Oh, yes. Now, actually, I made notes in the Darth Vader book. Excuse me just a moment while I refer, because being a stupid ancient old hippie, I may forget important things. Right, yes. Okay, this is very, very important. This is kind of a turning point. I believe this is the first thing that IK Multimedia have released that doesn't have a proprietary. I always struggle with saying that word. Now that I've said that, I am going to struggle. A proprietary cable. Now, anyone who's got anything already from IK Multimedia will know exactly what I mean. All the other stuff I have from IK, and it's quite a few things because they make fantastic stuff, have these special cables, right? That I should have had one to hand. If I just open this drawer down here, I probably have a bunch. Yeah, I think I can see one. Yes, I can. Here we are. Now, can I get this in close to the camera? Right. So normally, something from IK comes with a supply of cables, and they're very generous with the cables that they provide because they provide various cables for different use purposes. The last thing I got from them had proprietary connector to USB-C, one to USB-A, and also one for Lightning. This is a USB-C one. That's a spare that's in my drawer, and you'll see this is a connector unlike anything else. That's not a very good view. Let's try a different view. Okay. Can I shove it in here? Ooh, madam. Here we go. So it's unlike anything else. You're not going to get these anywhere except from IK Multimedia. And I've heard a lot of bitching about that over the years. And to be honest, I've never really kind of had a problem with it because they're good. Yes, they're proprietary, and it does mean that if you need to order a longer one, an extension, a replacement, or whatever, yeah, you've got to spend more money, and you've got to spend it with IK Multimedia. But they're really, really good quality cables. I've never had one break. I've never had the slightest issue with one, and so I've never really had a problem with it. But from here on, it seems that they've done away with this idea, and what this comes with is, side cam again. You'll see here there's a USB-C connector. On this end of the unit, there is a headphone socket and a USB-C connection. And this is how we connect it to whatever device, whether that be your computer, laptop, iPhone, or iPad. And that means that this device comes with, hang on, I have the box over here, which is empty. So no use for that whatsoever. Don't need that. Right. So it comes with these two cables. We've got here a USB-C to, I've put a knot in it now, like a stupid hippie. There we go. Right. Okay, so we've got USB-C to Lightning and USB-C to USB-C. Of course, it's entirely possible that you might need a USB-C to USB-A. But, like most of us have got a ton of them kicking around now, and they're not difficult to get hold of and expensive to get hold of if you don't have a spare one. But USB-C to C is becoming more and more common for more and more things now. So I think they're just thinking about the future and the way things are going. So I'm just going to put that one over there. I'm going to need this Lightning one. Yeah, that's the right one. I'm going to need that. All right. So no more proprietary cables and USB-C connections provided. I think that's everything I need to tell you about it. I think just an overview before we get stuck into plugging this in. It is designed to be a sort of on-the-go like practice unit. So let's say you're out and about, you've got your guitar with you, you've got your iPhone with you, and you've got this with you. You've got some headphones, right? You can plug your headphones in, plug your guitar into this, connect it to your iPhone or iPad or whatever, use your software in that and play through your software, and monitor it using this. But also, it has, side cam again. It has. This is where the guitar would go in, and this is where we would send a jack cable out to an amplifier or mixing desk or whatever. So that's how we would use it to have it like a live rig. Right? So designed to be a rehearsal tool, a live rig. Also, it sounds absolutely immense. So if you're just looking for a unit that you can record guitar with, not everybody wants an interface that's going to do microphone or synths or MIDI input or whatever. Some people just simply want something that's great quality so they can just get the guitar into their recording software, be that on whatever device it is, whether it be computer or iOS or whatever. Right? So it does that too. It also works great for streaming. So if you wanted to, let me see, I've got to explain this well. And I find this very difficult to explain well. Right? So let's say if you were doing a stream or recording a performance with, for example, your phone, and you want to perform with your guitar or bass, and you want to use the software that's in your phone. You can actually use the software that's in your phone to get your sound and send that sound to whatever you're recording with or streaming with. I explained that better than I expected. I'm fairly impressed with myself. I think I deserve a noddy badge for that. Now, although I can explain it well, I was concerned about demonstrating it in this stream because I need to demo that. It's important. And I couldn't think of a way to do it, but I've thought of a way. So fingers crossed, let's hope that works in a bit. I'm going to do that last. So I think that's everything. So I think we're going to plug it in now and I'll show you how all that side of it works. Before I'll do that, I'll just check the chat here. Oh, Princess has joined us. Hi, Princess. Thanks for being here. Now, I've opened this drawer down here and it's in the way of me getting comfortable. Let me just shut that with my foot. Okay. Right, so plugging it in. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate this with my old iPhone. It's an iPhone 12 because I'm going to need the iPad. I'm going to need the iPad when we come to demonstrating the this socket that goes out to amp, right? So I'm gonna plug this into my iPhone to begin with. Now let's go to this view over here. Side camera. Okay, now. So here's my old iPhone 12. And at the moment I've got a charger cable connected to it because I wanted to just make sure it was nice and charged up for the stream. And you'll see here behind that I've got my iPad here. That's just the AUM session that I was just using for the sound I was using when I just started the stream with a bit of bass playing. Now I've also got an AUM session on this iPhone here, and for anyone who's familiar with AUM, what you'll see is that here, can I get a bit closer into camera here? So here, AUM is just expecting to put sound out to the iPhone's built-in speaker. And here you'll see that it's got the microphone icon, like for the iPhone's built-in mic, but that we've had a little crash. And we've had a crash because I had the interface plugged into this earlier, and when I unplugged it, it had a bit of a panic. It's got the face on with me, basically. The reason I wanted to use AUM for this is because when I plug the interface into it, it should give us a good indicator that everything's plugged up and working right. I think you'll see what I mean when I do it. All right, so I've got some cables around here that I'm going to need as we go along. This is that cable I was talking about earlier that is lightning to USB-C that came with it. So what we'll do is we will unplug this charger cable, and I will plug the lightning connection into this old phone. Audible says the fact that Sidecam is labelled makes me laugh. Hi Audible. Well, you know, I like to label things, dude. It's how I know where I am with what I'm doing and what I'm working on, you know. When I'm working in a door, everything's color coded, everything's labeled, or else, you know, it just makes me feel more comfortable and at home with things, right? So now if I plug this cable into the top of the iRig HDX, it will light up. I see. And you see that things have changed now in AUM. And so I'll just, if I can just put this down here and just show you in AUM now, right? So you can see we've got a USB connection here. That's the iRig HDX input. And we are also outputting to the HDX, right? Yeah, princess. You know, it just makes life sort of prettier and more organized, and it just makes me happy. Right. So it's connected up. Now I'm going to put some more connections in here. I'm going to connect this into here. Now this is a mini USB to phono, to stereo phono, and that's plugged into my desk at the other end, so that any sound that comes out of the headphone out from this, you will hear in the stream. Now here's a little tip. This has its own master volume on it, right? Here, right, there's my master volume, but a little tip. I had a little problem that, why are my different cameras the same colour? Oh, bollocks, Matthias. Well, they're the same colour because I'd never thought of that. That's why. If you saw the website I got them from, you'd see why. All the other colours were dreadful. Right. Now, yes, all right, my little tip, madam. I had a little problem with this. At first, when I plugged it in, I thought, well, that's quiet. But what happens is, because this is powered by the phone. Now, I'm always telling people, don't try and power interfaces with your phone or with your iOS device. It's a bad plot. Get a hub. However, this one works very, very successfully, powering off an iOS device. So you can do that. I mean, this is 100% designed very, very cleverly to work as a completely mobile device. Now, the thing is, because of that, the volume of the device plays a part. So you have to make sure that your volume on your, in this case, phone is actually turned all the way up. That will actually affect the master volume on here, and likewise the master volume on this will affect the phone. Right? That's very important. Very important tip. Top tip from Jamie. Right? Now, we have 4 functions on this device. Before I get in any further, let's just have an overview of that. So you'll see there are some lights here. And if I click this button, if I click in the middle of the master volume, you'll see it toggles through the 4 different functions. Right? So, function 1 is volume, and it also shows you the input level of your instrument. Press. Now this is going to be, with when we're on this light here, sorry, I'm just struggling for words. By moving this to the left, what happens is, coming out of this sort of reamp send here, we will be sending the sound from the software in the phone. If I move it to the right hand side, that will give us a direct sound. Press again. Same thing, except this is for the headphone out. So move it to the left, we're hearing the sound of the software. Move it to the right, we've got a direct out. By direct out, I simply mean you get the sound of your instrument coming straight back at you from the device, not affected by what software is on your iOS device at all. And then the last function, sorry, I have to press again. The last function, this is for loopback. Now at the moment we have one light on. That means the light loopback is off. If I move this, we'll get 3 lights, which puts loopback on. But when you put loopback on, you have to press this in the middle and it resets the device, and then the loopback is operational. We'll do that later. So I'm going to come back to light number 1. And I'm going to plug in my bass. So I'm going to need a cable. Where did I put that? Oh, yes. Right. Now, while I'm busy panting around getting this cable set up, I'm going to just mention once again, I know I keep mentioning this, but these cables that I have in the studio, this bright green one and a bright blue one that you'll see a bit later, these are from the Music Cable Company, the most imaginatively titled music company ever. And actually, oh, that's just out of shot. That's a shame. Maybe I could just bring this camera this way a little. And then if I turn this around, you'll see their name is on the side of the cable. Oh, it's upside down. That couldn't be any more perfect. It's upside down. Brilliant. Okay. And they are extremely high quality, handmade cables made in the UK by actual people. And I never believed it, but honestly, using a cable of this quality is it makes an actual real difference to your recording quality. And I'm using these things live now, and it makes a difference. I would never have believed that, but these things have convinced me. They're a little bit pricey, but they are worth it. They're so well built, they're going to last, and so they do pay for themselves. If I can just move this back a little bit, maybe trap this up here a little bit so I can just feel that the cable's not going to pull the device. There we are. I'm getting a little bit untidy, but I think I'm reasonably happy. Right. So I've got my bass plugged in now. Now if I can just put it on. He said, off camera, giving the audience nothing to look at whatsoever. I can't find the end of my cable. Everything's going slightly pear-shaped for a moment. Here we go. Right, stick that in the bass. I don't have a hand free to change my camera view, so bear with me. Okay. Right, now, if I just turn this to the side maybe, so you can just see the lights on it. Okay, I'm going to move this camera a bit. Let's go a bit closer in. That's better. Yeah, like that. Okay, this camera's on one of those sort of wobbly arm things, so it'll settle in in about half an hour. All right, now if I just play the bass, you'll see there's an input level lighting up. What happens is, if I turn this, that will adjust the master volume. As you see, I've got it turned up absolute full, because that's necessary, because I'm a bit deaf, which is caused by turning things up full all the time. Once you've touched the volume and you've set it, after a couple of seconds, it will revert back to showing the input level, which is a nice solid level. That's good enough. Okay, now I've got the headphone, so I've got this stereo mini jack to phono plugged into the headphone socket. So if I go to, which knob is it? I think it's this knob on my desk. There we go. Now what I've done is I've set in AUM here on my phone, I've set a bit of a sort of a affected sound so that you can tell the difference immediately between direct sound and affected sound. Right, so that is what's coming out of the headphone socket and going over to my desk. That's controlled over here on the third light. Now, let's go over to this one. So on the second light, this is where we choose between direct sound and affected sound for what's coming out of here. And I'm going to need another cable so that I can show you that nice and effectively. So let's just go to a different view for a moment while I just find myself a cable. We've got another one here from the Music Cable Company. I'm going to plug that into here. Now, have I got a view in OBS that... I'll just go back to this one. Just wondering if I got a better one for this, but that'll do us. Right, so now, the sort of reamping send, if you like, is going to go to the interface that I've got plugged into my iPad, which is causing a little bit of interference on my iPad. That's not this, it's just because I've got a bit of a ground loop issue going on, but it's got something to do with the output from the desk going into the iRig, which goes into the stream. So please just try and ignore that bit of noise. Okay, now if I now just direct you to the iPad, so now I've got the output from here, from this side, going into the interface that's plugged into this iPad. So I'm going to just switch off the effects that I was using earlier. I'm going to turn down the volume on my desk, which is from the headphone out from here. So now what we should have is the output from here into my iPad. I'm just picking up my bass. Turn up that one. There we go. Right. Now, that's controlled on this second dot here. So I'm just going to pan through so you can see that I'm on the second dot. Right? And this is turned around to the right hand side. So I'm sending a clean signal to the iPad. If I turn it to the left, we should get the affected signal going to the iPad. Okay, so this means that, let's say, if we're wanting to use the software on our iPhone to get a sound and send it from this side of the interface to a mixing desk, to an amplifier, to a powered speaker. I mean, I'm sure you're already thinking of ideas, uses for this that I've not even thought of myself. There are many, many use cases for this. But for me, I'm thinking that when I'm gigging, I could have software on my iPad or my iPhone to get me a bass sound or guitar sound, so that if my rig goes down while I'm playing, I could simply send this to the mixing desk, get some of my sound coming through the monitors, and just carry on with the gig. And I think that's absolutely ace. So, at the moment, on my mixing desk, I've got the headphone out, turned all the way down. And I've got this turned up. So, you're hearing the affected sound from my iPad the affected sound from my iPhone coming through my iPad. Because this is turned to the left, if I turn it to the right, this is direct sound. This sound is not, it's just basically going into the interface and coming straight back out at you. Not affected by the software in the iPhone whatsoever. So that would mean that I could use this device to send clean signal to an amplifier, and then use the amplifier's sound to get a sound. It also means that it gives me an opportunity to blend both. So let's see now. I've got the clean sound. Just adjust this a little bit. I've got the clean sound coming out of here, the direct sound coming to my iPad, and I'm using apps in my iPad to get this sound. Right, now, if I turn up the sound that's coming from this software and going out of the headphone socket out of here to my desk, I can blend the two sounds. Etc., etc., right? So it gives me an opportunity. It gives me a possibility. It gives me a way of blending those two sounds together. So I'm sure you can probably think of all kinds of use cases for this. One use case that just came into my head just then, right, was I could, because I've got the option of the headphone out, or this kind of reamping send, if you like. What I could possibly do is, when I'm recording something, I might have got a sound that I want to use that's on my device. And I might record that, but also use the reamping to send a clean signal and record that at the same time. So you're recording the same performance, one's affected, one's clean, because you might be confident that you've got a great sound while you're recording, but then later on you might think, I wish I'd just had a little bit more of this, I wish I'd had a bit less chorus, I wish I'd had a bit more bottom end, whatever. It means you can reamp that sound, right? That's kind of the whole idea. Right, so that's kind of the easy part to explain. So we have master volume, we've got a tuner. I didn't show you the tuner. I didn't even show you the tuner. Right, let's just backtrack a little bit. I'm going to show you the tuner now. This is awesome, right? Because for any of you that play guitar, or bass, or any kind of stringed instrument, have you noticed how there's a lot of iOS apps that you get that are useful for people like us, but never have a tuner built into them. There are so many iOS apps that I've got my hands on and thought, yeah, this is great. It's absolutely awesome. If it had a tuner built into it, it would be perfect. And I don't understand why. I know this is an IK multimedia product that I'm kind of demoing and in a way promoting right now. But Tone X was like, Tone X is a pain in the arse without a tuner. It really needs one. So, yeah. Thank you for the fishes in the chat, Matthias. Yeah, I love a bit of tuna on baked potatoes. Tuna, baked potatoes. Bit of butter, bit of salt. Fantastic. Bit of black pepper if we've got some. Relevant. Anyway, right, so, what was I going to do? I was going to show you the tuna. Right. So, yes. So many iOS applications that could do with one are missing a tuner. So this device will assist us with that problem. I'm going to show you how. I'm going to go to Sidecam and I'm going to turn up the reamping. Right, now, to get this onto tuner mode, I press and hold. And now we have a tuner. Now you see the two blue lights light up at the top. They kind of indicate we're in tuner mode. And the green lights around the side will tell you what note you are tuning to. I'll explain more on that in a moment. And the green light at the top is showing you how far in or out of tune you are. Right, now, I'm going to show you on my computer here. If I go to this view, right, where's my mouse gone? Somebody's nicked my... Oh, it's there. Hang on. Somebody's nicked my mouse. Nobody's been in here but me. Right? That's my streaming thing. You don't need that. Here we go. Right, so this is from IK Multimedia's website, and you'll see here a very nice little diagram that shows you how the tuner works, right? Which is just, you're going to be far better off looking at this than me explaining it. All right, so when this light here lights up, right, you're closest to playing an E, and here, if this one lights up, you're closest to playing a D. This is the accuracy of the tuner. Oh, no, I told you this bit wrong. Yes, when it's lit up double blue like this, it's a sharp note. And the reason it's lighting up for me is because I tune to E flat pretty much all the time. That's why we're seeing that. Yes. So what light indicates that it's in tuner mode? I aren't sure. Maybe we'll figure that out while I'm using it. Okay, and so you've got these other notes that are indicated around here, and these lights here light up to indicate that you're a bit flat or you're a bit sharp, right? So it's kind of just, once you get used to what the lights mean, it's a nice accurate tuner, and it's really, really helpful to have. So if I just go back to the side view, which I can't do because the old iPad has crashed and I use that as a stream deck. There we go. Right, so, right, looking at the lights while I tune, right, so this indicating that I'm sharp because I am in E flat, right, so there, that means, that light means D and that means sharp. So that's my low E, or would be if I were tuned standard. there's my A string. This light means G, and that means sharp. Right? So, and if I just put myself slightly out of tune on my G string, you'll see right, it's a pretty decent tuner. I mean, I could use that. All right. Okay. So go back to this view while I kind of gather my thoughts and figure out where I am. Right. So we've demonstrated the tuner. Let me look at my notes. Oh, I've remembered all that. I'm impressed with myself. We've done the overview of the lights and what they're for. We've done the reamping. We've done the headphone out. We've done the way that you can get direct sound on the reamping, right? So all we need to do now for a complete demo is we need to have a look at the loop back. Now this is the bit that's going to be a little bit difficult to demonstrate, so you're really going to have to bear with me on this. I'm going to do my best. Okay, see you later, Audible. DJ says, I mentioned the lack of tuner in Cubasis to a Steinberg rep on Saturday. Ah, good. Well, thank you for that. I've mentioned it numerous times. Logic Pro has one. I cannot understand why anyone would ever make a digital audio workstation or any kind of app intended for guitar or bass that wouldn't have one included. In fact, I even feel that way about the Nambrini amps. You know, it would just be helpful to have a tuner at the top of the amp. You know, why wouldn't you put it quick? Because I've been told by many developers that the coding for a tuner just already exists. It's just something you just insert. It's not difficult to do. I just don't get it. It's exasperating. Anyway, right, so onward. We need to demonstrate the loopback. So overview before we do it. So loopback, for anyone who missed it earlier, is basically when you are using an iOS device. No, it's when you're using a device and you are streaming or recording with it and you want to play an instrument using software from within that device. Now, and hear that affected sound in the stream or the recording. Now, this has been a problem in the past with iOS devices. It has been a problem where you might have your guitar plugged into your phone, you've got some guitar software in there, you're hearing your guitar software, everything sounds good, then you start streaming and you can't get that sound into the stream, just the clean sound goes into the stream. Similarly, you're recording a video and you know everything's sounding great, you're recording your video, you play your video back and all you've got is a clean guitar sound and none of the effects that you were hearing while you were playing, right? That's the problem. Oh, GB Crow's here. Hey Jamie, popping in for a few minutes before another meeting, checking out the live stream and giving you a thumbs up. Cheers dude, thanks for being here man, always good to see you. Right, so how we're going to demonstrate this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the video. I just thought of another thing I should demonstrate. Right, okay, we're going to do this. Then I've got another idea. I'm going to put this over here so I remember. Right, okay. Yeah, that's a good thought actually. Well done, hippie. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to record a video on the phone that I'm using for the software I'm getting the affected bass sound from, right? And I'm going to show you how we can use the the loopback to get the audio into that video. I think it would be much easier to just demonstrate it than to explain it. So let's do that. Let's go to Sidecam. Now, first of all, we're going to need to be hearing, we don't need that. We don't need the reamped sound. We need this sound. Right, we want the very affected sound so that we can hear, oh, actually, yeah, I've just thought of another, hang on, just thought of another thing. I'm just going to go to here. Let's put that off of direct sound there. Okay. Okay, right. So there's the affected sound, the sound that's being created by the apps I'm using in AUM on my phone. Now, if I can do this, this is going to be difficult to do sideways, so bear with me. I have to just come out of AUM without closing it, and I need to go to video camera. Now, if I turn this towards me, there we are, look, I can do a nice little video of myself playing with the affected sound. So let's just do that. That's all we need. Now, I go to my photo album and play the video. Right? So you can hear that we didn't get any of the effects there. We just got a clean sound. That's the problem I'm talking about. I'm just going to play that again. I'm impressed that worked first time. Let's do that again. Okay. My vibrato really is a bit over the top. Anyway. Right, so we come out of there. We're going to come back to the video in a moment. Now, I have to be very careful when I do this. I have to remember something very important. I press this button and go over to the fourth light on the top of the device. This blue light up here. Right? Now, you'll see this green light in the middle means we are currently not in loopback mode. If I turn this to the right, we get 3 lights. Now, to set this into loopback mode, I need to press this in the middle and it will reset the device. When I do that, it will make a sort of a popping sound through my mixing desk that you don't want to hear. So I'm just going to turn down the volume on my mixing desk while I do that. Press and hold. That will reset. Hang on a minute, have I done the right thing here? I aren't sure. Why has it gone to 1 light? You know what? I am really... Did it do that earlier? I'm not sure. Okay. Let's just see now. Right, so... I press, not press and hold. Press, not press and hold. Okay. Stupid hippie. Never said I was perfect. Right. So now we should have, if I play the bass, I need to turn this back up. Whoops. Need to turn this back up on the desk. Oh, we've got a slightly strange sound going on there. What's going on? Right. Yes, okay. I'll turn that back down while I just explain. So I need to zoom this into you a little bit. Now, you'll see what's happened is, because I've put this in loopback mode, it's now created more outputs. This is why I wanted to use AUM to explain this, because it makes it all very clear. Just up here, instead of saying just like one USB input, meaning the device. It says USB 1 and 2. That's not what we want. And press here, go to hardware input. I need to swap this for this new potential input that's appeared. This is it says iRig HDX 3. If I select that, that is the loopback. So now that I've got loopback set as the input into AUM, I can turn it back up on the desk. That crazy sound has gone away. We've got the sound that we want. Now, I'm going to turn this towards myself just a little bit. Right, then I'm going to do this. Come out of AUM without closing it, go back to the video camera, make a little video of myself playing. And stop it. Right, now go to my photo album. There you see, I've recorded a video in the phone with the affected sound in AUM by using the loopback function on the device, right? So, and I demonstrated it okay. I think I'm doing all right today. I'm quite pleased with myself today. Sometimes after streams, I think, oh, you forgot to say this. You should have said that. You should have shown them this. You spent too long doing that. You talked the bollocks for ages. But actually, I'm quite pleased with myself today. I've remembered everything I wanted to, and I've come up with an idea of something to show you that I didn't think of until I was like doing the stream, right? So, here's another thing. I'm always a bit bothered when I'm using an interface that's plugged straight in to the device, meaning that I can't charge the device. Now this phone my iPhone 12 was charged up full, ready for the stream. As you saw when we started the stream, I still had the charger cable connected to it, make sure it had plenty of power in it. Since I plugged this in, obviously the HDX has been powered by the phone, so obviously it's draining power from the phone. So let's just have a look what the battery level is on the phone now. There, right. So if I I ain't got this so that it shows battery level on this phone. Oh, okay. Well, if I just zoom it up to you there, see, right? You see, it's gone down a bit, only a tiny bit. So this thing doesn't draw a massive amount of power. You also have to remember that this is my old phone. I used this for 2 years as my main phone, and since then I've used it every single time that I've streamed as a camera. So it's had tons of use. The battery's maybe not like absolutely tip top anymore, but no, I didn't want that. I wanted that. Thank you. Right. So it's not, it's not sucking an awful lot of power out of it. It's not sucking the life out of it. Is what I'm trying to drive at, I suppose. But I'm never particularly happy using a device when I'm not charging the device. Because, I do some real long sessions. The last thing I want is to be working on something that needs to be finished for somebody who's paying me to record them some guitar or bass or whatever. and my sessions suddenly end because the device has run out of power, because I'm running the interface off of that device. So there are a couple of options which I tried out. Now, normally with my iPad, let's go to this view again so I can show you. So normally with my iPad, move this out of the way for a moment. Off the side of the iPad, you'll see I've got a dongle, which I can't get into shot. I don't think the cable's long enough. Oh, there we are, look. So there's a dongle. And this dongle, actually, it's still not quite far enough out. Right, so in this dongle, I've got a white cable. That's my power. So the iPad is charging up constantly. The middle one is a HDMI. I use that so that I can cast my iPad screen into the stream. And this one, this USB-A on the end, that goes to my powered hub, which is a shockingly poor quality powered hub that I really need to replace when I'm not quite so poor. And that's what I plug all my MIDI controllers and the interface that I normally use for the iPad, which is the iRig Pro Duo. That's what I plug them all into. Everything goes into that powered hub and then into that dongle on the side of the iPad. If you plug the iRig HDX into the hub, it will recognize it, it will see it, it will work that way. So that's one thing. Another thing is, I'm going to show you this. Here is my horrible proprietary Apple white ugly dongle thing that I used to use, because you see it's a lightning. I used to use it when this iPad over here, the iPad 2017 that's now my Stream Deck, when that was my main iPad. So this was the dongle so I could get a powered hub or interface or whatever into that one. So this dongle I'm going to plug into the HDX. Let's just set the camera correct. Okay. Right, just make sure everything's turned down on my desk while I do this, because it could make a bit of a pop in your ears. So I'm going to take the power out of the HDX, and I'm going to take the connection out of my phone. Now, let's put this dongle into my phone. And let's see now. The reason I'm using this phone rather than my newest phone, which is iPhone 14 Plus, is because this one, I really like these Spigen cases, because they're really good, solid, protective cases. They're really, really good. They're about, UK, they're about £30, which seems like a lot for a case, but it's well worth it. They're exceptional cases. And this one has a stand on the back. But when I bought the one for my iPhone 14 Plus, I couldn't get one with a stand. So I thought this one would be better for this purpose. Right, so there's my phone with the dongle on the side. And now I can plug my charger cable into the dongle. And I can plug a USB-A into this. So this is the reason I've got this ugly USB-C cable hanging around here, so that I can plug this into the HDX there, and then the other end of it should be around here somewhere. Right, okay. If I plug that, watch the screen, and hopefully it'll work. Here, watch the screen and cross your fingers. Plug this into the dongle. There we are. Right. And it's recognized it. So what I'll do is I'll just scoot across to loopback. I keep forgetting how this actually works. Only just got it. There we go. And I'm going to just put that back into not loopback mode. Right. Right, my volume's at full. Affected sound, loop back off. Okay, and then we'll just go to here. And we'll select a hardware input. There is only one to choose from when you're not in loopback mode, so you can't get it wrong. And now we should be back to affected sound coming through my desk. Right, which I can then blend with, just turn that down, and we'll turn up what's coming into the iPad. Right, so that is currently affected sound. Let's switch that to direct sound. Add in my bass driver and my chorus effect here. Right, now I can bring back up the volume of the headphone out from the HDX. And blend both sounds. Alright, so I hope that is, I think I've covered everything, and I hope that's a reasonable demonstration of how everything works, what everything does, and why I think it's well worth the asking price. Has anyone in the chat got any questions before I bugger off and get some food, because my stomach's rumbling like a bitch? Anyone got anything they want to ask me about this device or anything else before I clear off? And while you're thinking, typing or whatever, I'll just tell you that my next stream will be about Mooga Fugas. I'm going to be doing more than one stream on the Mooga Fugas because there's so much to talk about, there's so much to show you, but I need to make a start. So I'm going to do that either tomorrow lunchtime or Thursday lunchtime. Hopefully tomorrow lunchtime. Well, I'm saying lunchtime UK. So 12 o'clock UK time tomorrow, all being well. I will finalise details of that and get it advertised and spammed all over the internet this evening. So let me just check the chat. Questions? No questions. But DJ says that hub and power source for peace of mind. Same here. Yeah. You know, it's. I just feel like I just feel uncomfortable with the possibility that I could be. You know, I might come up with the best lick that I've ever played, and the battery runs out. And then I can't remember it later. That's my fear. You know, first world problems, obviously. Alright, so thank you very, very much for being here today. I suspect that I might have another demo for you with regards to an IK Multimedia product soon. But I'm going to keep tight-lipped about that, but I'm really, really looking forward to it. They're coming out with some great stuff at the moment. I think what I'm really liking about what they do is the thought that's going into it, the thought that's going into the design process, and the fact that they really are considering the mobile the mobile users, they're thinking about how things work with iOS and what can be problematic about using one of their devices with iOS. And so they're kind of redesigning things, just putting a lot of thought into it, and it just makes you feel like, well, yeah, this is a company that knows what we're looking for. And now I know that IK Multimedia have taken a lot of stick in recent years, in not so recent years for their customer service, but in more recent years, I've only heard good things about their customer service. If you need them, if you need to contact them, if you need some help with something doesn't work, having a problem, just don't understand something, just get in touch with them. And I've found them to be incredible, both from a YouTuber perspective and also just as a customer. I do really very highly recommend their stuff. DJ is saying Real Mooga Fuga or the plugins. Yes, sorry. Oh, hi, Gerald. Sorry, mate. You've arrived just in time for me to say goodbye. It's that time of the stream when I say thank you, everyone, very, very much for being here. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget that if you have any questions about anything I've been talking about today, anything about music in general, anything at all that I can possibly help you with, all my contact information is down below the video. You are very, very welcome to get in touch with me by any of those means. If you wouldn't mind, please, on your way out, make sure you've given me a like, make sure you've subscribed to the channel. If you want to help out the channel in any way, then all the information is down below the video, how you can do that, or there's the super chat as well. So once again, thank you very much for joining me so that I didn't have to talk to myself. I really appreciate it. I hopefully will be doing that stream tomorrow. Look out for information on that appearing all over the internet later on this evening. Alright, so until then, take good care of yourselves and be good people. Be kind, look after the planet, make lots of music, and try not to piss pants about. See you later.